Hi, back again. I thought rather than discuss mental health issues, even though this is all kind of related to the same sort of thing, I'd carry on with my story a bit and go into my visions and tell some of that side of things, because obviously it's not really a very normal thing for people to experience, I don't think. I mean, I only know of Joan of Arc and Nostradamus, who had visions and met God and things like that. So it's all very bizarre and weird for me, because obviously you hear about them in history and they're quite influential on that. And like my visions are not kind of, I don't know. It's hard to kind of say whether they're important or not. I don't know. But obviously, I didn't realise that I have a certain brain function that I don't know if everyone has it or not. I would describe it, it's part of my creative process. So when I'm taking photos and making art and things like that, I will imagine. So it's my imagination, but it's not like, I kind of think, okay, I'll do this and then go out and do it. I'll picture it in my mind and I'll be able to draw like a clear picture of what I want to create and actually be able to visualize that. Like I could come up with a picture now, have my eyes open and still be looking around the room, but also be able to see in my mind what I want to create. So it's not like looking out of your eyes. It's like I can only describe it if there's like such a thing as the mind's eye, that it's something like that. It's a very visual, I see pictures in my head process and that's what the visions have been like. That's how they've presented themselves to me. And so the first lot of visions that I had was during my spiritual awakening, when I hadn't slept for a few days and a lot of my visions have come to me whilst using cannabis, which is obviously a psychoactive. So I don't know what that did to my brain, whether it made the visual processing part of my brain stronger, but I mean, I was messing around with all kinds of things, like trying to open my third eye and my pineal gland, get all that up and functioning to see if it was real. So using tones and frequencies and meditation and things like that to kind of see if I could activate that kind of thing. But obviously using cannabis for my medical condition as well. I don't know, but I'd get, like, I had intense visions during my awakening and I was shown a lot of stuff, but it was all over the place and there was just so much information that I couldn't remember it. But then I'd reach a certain point in time and I'd be kind of sat there going, I've seen this before. I remember this point in time and it didn't look exactly like this, but the same things were happening at this point in time, however many years ago, like 3 years ago. Things related to my children and where they were going to be and what they were here to do on the planet and bizarre things like that. And I try not to influence my kids with my weirdness, and if I am talking shit about like my weird experiences and that, I'll sort of say, can you leave the room? Because I want them to be able to make up their own minds. I mean, even though they've had their own weird experiences themselves, I still, if they want to be atheist or have whatever beliefs they want to have. Zed has some very bizarre beliefs about the world being on the back of a turtle. That's cool. He's 11. I don't know if that's real. I mean, there's all kinds of beliefs around now. You know, there's over 2,000 gods that people believe in and worship. There's so many things. People believe the earth is flat, people believe the earth is round, people believe the world is a bloody simulation, like in some sort of quantum computer. I'm just like, what? I mean, I'm having bizarre experiences, which makes me question everything anyway. It makes life very surreal, but it's almost like I saw the future and now time's catching up with me, if that makes sense. But yeah. So obviously I had a lot of visions during my spiritual awakening, but they continued to happen afterwards, so I still get them now. One of the ones that I remember very vividly was I was talking to the kids about, like, I don't know, I was just being weird, because I'm weird anyway, and I was papering, doing decoupage on a sheep skull that I found in a field that I'd cleaned up, and I thought, oh, I'll make it pretty. So I was doing that decoupage thing where you glue bits of paper onto it, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I died and somebody did that to my skull? Because I'm really weird. I mean, it seemed like a good idea, you know, so I just kind of was thinking about that. And then I just had this vision, and I was standing on this hillside with Lola. I was just standing next to her, and I was me, but I wasn't the version of me that I was at that moment in time. I was like this super cool kind of, I don't know, I had a very Native American vibe to me. Very stoic and wise and knowledgeable, and I was like, that's really cool. And I was like, that's a much better version of me than the version that I am now. I want to be that version. If that's the best possible version of me. And I was just so, I don't know, I just had this kind of aura around me and this vibe to me that was really cool. So I thought, right, okay, well, you know, if that's the best possible version of me, then I'm going to work towards being that best possible version, because I'm not particularly thrilled with the version that I am at the moment, because I'm a bit fucked up. So I kind of set my mind to really working towards that. And obviously, like, things started to unfold very naturally towards that kind of thing. So I got into shamanism and looking at that, and working in, well, what I would describe as the spirit world, with spirits and guides and things like that. Like doing meditations to find out what my spirit animal is. Butterfly, which is pretty cool. At first I was like, that's so gay, I want a decent animal, like a wolf or a jaguar or something really cool. But I actually really like the butterfly now, and I see lots of butterflies around me all the time. So yeah, it's good. I like the butterfly. Well, I did want something a bit cooler. But yeah, so I've had loads of visions now. Visions about the future of humanity and everything like that, and evolution, and, you know, where we're going and what's happening on the planet at the moment. I could go into that a lot more, but again, you know, so a lot of my visions I've read about in a book. Which, like, to me, I'm kind of sat there thinking, right, these visions are really weird, and I'm sat here reading them in a book which has been channeled by somebody else who receives messages from spirit guides and talks to, you know, entities and spirit guides and things like that. So he's channeled my visions into a book. So that really confirmed to me, like, what is possibly going on the planet. And the book is called The Ascension Papers, if anyone's interested in reading it. And it makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of sense of where we're heading and what's actually happening on the planet at the moment. Even though it can seem really dark and really like turbulent, and everything's all over the place and all the systems are breaking down, and it's not. It's all part of this massive process of kind of discovering who we really are, and what we're really capable of. And sort of like people like me who want to poke around inside their brains with bloody, what do they call them, binaural beats and things like that. I use them for meditation, I use them for getting rid of headaches, I use them for loads of stuff. And sometimes you'll come across one and you'll have a really weird reaction to it. And you'll hear like popping sounds, and this will happen, and like you'll start seeing flashing lights and things like that. It's kind of like when I had Reiki done and I could see these flashing colours and everything. And then the woman was talking about pink, and I kept seeing these like flashing colours when she's just rubbing, not even touching me, like fannying around and that. So I'm very interested in things like that. Basically, like, not that I don't love the Western world, and I've grown up in the Western world, but I find a lot of other cultures, especially indigenous cultures and things like that, to resonate more with me, their perspective on things. And that, especially given my own experiences with spirits and the things that I communicate with, like my spirit guides and everything, and being somebody that suffers from anxiety and a list of different disorders and things, having a Zen master who helps me relax and guides me. I ask for guidance all the time and I always receive it. Like, whenever I ask for guidance, it will come to me, and it doesn't matter how it comes to me. Sometimes it will just come and it will be a bloody love heart in the sky or on the floor, or it'll be numbers, because I follow the numbers as well, because, you know, why not? They all mean something apparently, and they kept showing up, so I started Googling them. And, you know, I always love it when I get a 1111, because I'm like, yay. But even if it's, sometimes my guidance comes through other people, so I'll be praying for guidance. I'll be like, please help me, oh my god, I don't know what to do. And somebody will talk to me and it will be the guidance that I need, and I'm like, right, okay, thank you. So it always comes. Even like Facebook, I'd look at readings from cards and things like that, when people pull cards and they give you a reading, and they're always really relevant to me. There's not many times. I mean, sometimes you get multiple readings and things like that, and some won't be relevant, but then other parts will be. But yeah, so I've gone from being very atheist and not believing in anything to having weird experiences, a lot of weird experiences and visions of the future. And I really wish I had known when I had my spiritual awakening to write the visions down, because now when I tell people, they're like, it's bullshit, and it's like, okay. And I can see why, because who gets visions apart from people that get visions? I don't bloody know. But I mean, they've caused a few problems as well. So it's not all been fun and games, although it probably has. But my visions were why I ended up in a hospital over in Malta, because I was having really, really vivid visions of all kinds of stuff, which then became my driving force, but they weren't good visions. They were really dark visions and that, and they'd be so strong that I'd get trapped inside the vision. So I'm there with my eyes open and I can see what's going on around me, but in my mind there's a vision happening, and I'm more there than I am kind of in my body. I'm in the vision and I'm experiencing that, and it's making me act fucking crazy. But I hadn't slept in a few days. So I always have to make sure that I sleep, because I don't know what's up with my brain chemistry. I don't know whether I'm producing like DMT or something too much if I don't sleep. I don't know what chemistry's going on up there. I don't really know what I've done to my brain. I know I've messed around with it a lot because it wasn't working properly. So yeah, it does work better now. My mind's a lot clearer as well. Before, it was really hard for me. I'd get trapped inside my own head and really uncomfortable, kind of like going over past trauma and, oh, why did this happen to me? And or in the future worrying about shit that hasn't fucking happened. And I try not to do that now by using mindfulness as much as humanly possible and being more conscious and more aware of my thoughts. But when you've got anxiety, it's like a full-time job. It's like more than one full-time job, because I have, like, with anxiety, with me, I know I'm being irrational. I know my thoughts are completely irrational. And I'm like, I can rationalise this, but I still can't stop the feelings. So I'll be worrying about something like to do with the kids or something like that, because obviously they're my world, so I worry about them all the time. And I'll know that I'm being irrational. Like, this is just an example of what I'm dealing with. So we went to my parents' place. I don't watch the news. I just can't do the news. And that is just, it gets too much for me. So I don't watch the news. And my dad had the news on, so I'm watching it with him. And it was a news report for who watches like the world news, so he goes through all the different countries, and they find that quite entertaining, watching the news from different countries. And it was some African country, and they were talking about this disease that like they had over there, and it sounded pretty nasty. And Lola wasn't well. She wasn't well before we went over to the UK. And then we had a really we didn't stop. We just did something every day. We didn't rest, we didn't relax. We travelled loads, so we were travelling all over the place. And she didn't really get time to recover. So by the time we got back here, she hadn't got any better. In fact, she got worse. And then she had like pus in the back of her throat, and she had a toenail that had got too long and hadn't been cut, and then she had pus on her foot, and then she'd been rubbing her eye, so she had a bit of conjunctivitis as well. And me, rationally, I'm like, it's fine, just give her the antibiotics and it'll all clear up and everything. And then the other part of me is going, oh my god, it's this friggin' disease, or it's the bloody cats, oh my god, the cats have been in the house and they've been walking on the floors and now I have to bleach the floors. And it's like, no, Elena, just don't go there, just stop, you know, because that's what my mind does, and it does it so fucking quickly, and then that's it. I'm having a fucking panic attack. Oh my god, it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. I just have to keep saying, no, just stop. Just fucking stop. Oh, and oh god, the visions and that as well. So I'll see in my mind. So it's hard to explain them. I will see the worst possible scenario playing out in my mind, and that, which is like usually a really painful experience, and I'm having to learn not to do that, because that just creates crap for me. And it's hard because you don't even realise how many thoughts that you have until you become aware of your mental processes and just how many thoughts you're having, and how all of them are really not that helpful and not that great for you. So it's trying to keep those under control as well. I mean, I'm completely fucking neurotic, like, oh my god. Oh, just coming over here and getting out of one state of mind and then realising how, like, neurotic I am is fun. So I didn't even realise that I had OCD as well. On top of, I think I'm at like 16 different diagnoses, maybe more now, of what could be wrong with me. I personally just think I'm living life on a fucking crazy planet and reacting to it. Like, you know, my conversion disorder is a reaction to my anxiety and panic attacks and stress. So then my brain starts shutting me down as a reaction to that. You know, my OCD is a reaction to my anxiety and everything like that as well. So, you know, I'll be obsessively cleaning and panicking that my freaking apartment isn't clean enough or something. And, you know, just... and then that creates stress and everything else. So I'm basically in quite a stressed out state most of the time. I'm fucking exhausted. I exhaust people as well, and I feel bad for that because I can't help being like this. I can't help being this level of batshit crazy. But it's like, you know, I obviously having kids and loving them more than you could ever comprehend, it does drive you a bit fucking crazy. You know, and now I've got kids who are, it wasn't too bad when they were little, but now they're kind of spreading their wings a little bit, and Frankie will go on the ferry across to Malta to go on buses and go shopping. And for me, as an anxious mother in a foreign country, I'm like, oh my God. But I have to, you know, let her spread her wings and do these things. I can't be one of these helicopter parents who's just flapping around all the time going, yeah. Even though I do that, I'm like, oh, I'm a pain in the bum. My kids are crying or they're upset about something. I cannot leave them alone until I know they're okay. So I'm always kind of counselling them, which is probably ridiculous because I probably need counselling myself. But they know I'm nuts. I'm always telling my kids, I'm like, oh, I just don't want you to end up like me. I mean, they have anxiety and things like that because I do. It's a knock-on effect. You can't help it, you know, and I can see it in other people as well. And I pick up on it from other people too, and I know they pick up on it from me. So if I'm feeling anxious, it has a knock-on effect. And how did this all end up being about bloody anxiety? It was supposed to be about me having visions of the future, sounding really cool and like all spiritual and woo. But yeah, that's gone out the window. Now I'm back talking about my mental health. But like I said, it's all related. It is. If I didn't have like this visual process going on in my head where I see the worst possible case scenario, then, you know, I wouldn't have that level of anxiety, so I wouldn't be imagining the worst all the time and stuff, you know. It is exhausting. But yeah. So that's, I don't know, a weird one. It's weird knowing that might have seen the future as well. It's not a bad one, it's a really good one. I have the Jehovah's Witnesses come knock on my door. They're trying to convert me. They don't realise I'm trying to convert them as well. Not that I would. But no, but I find them very interesting because they're like, oh, this time period that we're in now, it's very significant, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's totally like out of my visions because the Bible's full of prophecies and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, I love prophecies and things like that. Legend of the Rainbow Warriors. I'm a Rainbow Warrior. Woo! And indigos. Yes, I'm an indigo child as well. Yeah, so you got lots of shit going on the planet, but it's all good shit. Things are just kind of like coming back into some sort of order and balance, I think, after they've been kind of screwed up for a few millennia, maybe. Don't know. But yeah. It's definitely an interesting time to be alive. And I have to embrace it. And embrace the crazy too. Because I could be normal. Oh my God, normal, please. Just a little bit, you know, I just want like a normal job. just so I can feel a bit normal. I don't have to be totally normal, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's brief. It was supposed to be a lot more about the visions, but I've gone off on one. So it is what it is. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.